So I've been watching a lot of videos on YouTube lately about Christianity and God and religion in general. And the viewpoints on YouTube that are displayed through deconversion stories, conversion stories even, they seem to be polarized towards the atheistic, agnostic, or even anti-theistic point of view. So I just decided I would kind of just give the other side of the spectrum for you. I think there's a misconception about Christianity among believers and non-believers alike. Um, so I think the best way to kind of show this is through my personal story. Um, my name is Daniel, and I've pretty much been a Christian my whole life. Um, I've always been in a Christian home. My parents have been Christians. My dad's a deacon. My mom's in the ministry. I'm pretty exposed to it. I've gone to Christian schools and all that jazz, so I'm not foreign to it, definitely. Um, I was saved in the 4th grade during a VBS event. Um, I remember going and praying the prayer and just talking to the children's minister at the time, and I got saved that day. And I remember I was just psyched, I was excited, and it was incredible. And but of course, with most things like that, the excitement kind of wore off, and life just went back to how it was. And life just kind of came and went after that. And then in the 7th grade, I'd been homeschooled the whole time before, but in the 7th grade was my first time to go to real school, and I went to a Christian school. And I remember in one of our chapel services, this missionary family was about to head off to Africa. It was either Kenya or northern Uganda. I can't remember exactly which, but they showed this video, and it was about the organization Invisible Children. And during that video, God really laid on my heart that I needed to do something. He just started speaking to me. He's like, Daniel, I have better plans for you. I have bigger plans than what you see. And I mean, just in my 7th grade mind, I can't really comprehend what he could do for me. I'm still thinking I'm just a 7th grader. What can you do for me? But he's like, Daniel, I have bigger plans for you. And so I prayed that day that he wouldn't let me forget what he told me, that I would just continue to grow in him. And so life went on from then, just came and went again, and nothing really happened until the 8th grade. I changed to a different Christian school, and I had a hard time with that. I remember I had kind of argued with my parents about it and stuff, but he kind of comforted me that was the right thing one week when everything that happened that week related back to what I had prayed. I prayed, remember, that he wouldn't let me forget what he had told me about that video, about just the ministry, missions, about him, that kind of relationship. And he just came back and he's like, I'm back. And everything that happened that week related back to that video, missions, ministry, some sort of that. And like in English class, we'd be reading something about missions, and in Bible class they would tell the exact story of northern Uganda. And we just happened to have a youth retreat that weekend, and they were just all over missions on that, and it was just literally everywhere I went, God was speaking to me about it, and it was almost like he wanted him to lay off. It was crazy what happened that week. And so I went and I talked to my parents about it. I talked to some other people, some teachers, my youth minister at the time, and I just basically accepted the call to the ministry. Don't just immediately turn off to me because I am going into the ministry yet. I'm basically a normal person. I'm not just doing propaganda for God. But back to the story. After the 8th grade, after that whole week, life kind of went downhill. It's like when God started calling, Satan started attacking, and I got into stuff I never should have got into, and I was addicted to pornography for 3 years, and during this time, I was just completely miserable. I was always making excuses, thinking I'm going to come back to God on some church retreat, some church camp, and just be reunited with Him and be all happy again, but it never really happened. There would be times where I'd come to Him, I'm like, God, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't let go of it. I wouldn't truly turn to Him. And I was miserable, completely miserable. And that came and went until the 10th grade. It was about the end of the 10th grade. It was the climax week. Everything that happened that week was just, it was crazy. I was constantly on the computer, it seemed like, every day, and just into stuff I should not be into, looking at stuff on the computer I should not have. And I mean, for being in my family, that was just a drastic thing, as undrastic as it may be to some people. That everything that happened that week just kind of led into what happened that weekend. And that weekend we had an archery trip, of all things an archery trip. But God spoke to me on that, and he's like, Daniel, I want you to come back to me. Even as I was getting on the bus just to leave that Friday, he was like, Daniel, I want you to come back to me. And I'm like, how can I do this? I don't know what's going to happen. If I'm faced with these temptations, how in the world, how can I resist that? And I remember on one bus ride later into the trip, God just really hit me. And He brought people into my life that were just incredible. And He just showed me what He had for me. It's like, Daniel, this is what I have for you. Come back to me. And I prayed on that bus ride that He'd forgive me. I asked for forgiveness. I was like, God, I'm sorry. I've been going away from you, and I know you have bigger plans for me than this. So on that bus ride, I turned back to Him. And since that day, I've never looked at pornography. I've never been back on any of that stuff. And I mean, don't assume me as sinless, but I mean, I've never been the same. Far from. Even though I've been a Christian my whole life, even when I really turned to Him and saw the relationship side, things being different. I mean, don't get me wrong. Life wasn't any easier. In fact, it's been actually much more difficult lately, especially this past year. It's been crazy hard, definitely the hardest of my life. But during all these hard times, during the times I feel lonely, the times I struggle, He's been there the whole time. He's right beside my side. And I mean, I talk to Him, and it's hard for a lot of people to understand, even Christians, because they don't get to that point. They just think of worship God, and there's nothing more to it. But He is my all. My relationship with God basically defines me. It's crazy what He does for you. I mean, so here's the misconception about Christianity I talked about, is that you don't have to be good to get right with God. It doesn't matter how hard you work at it, how faithful you are, whatever. God is not a God of doctrine, of fear, or anything like that. He is a God of relationship. And we overuse the whole religion. It's not a religion, it's a relationship. But it truly is that. And God is so much more than we see Him sometimes. I mean, most of us only see half of it. He's powerful, yet He's personal. And He's above all, yet we are each valued. We are each taken in. There's no other, I mean, history even proves it, that there's no other religion, no other faith, no other set of beliefs that says that you are valued to him, to something. And it just shows that this is different, much different. I mean, we see him as so just, we see him in fear, but then we have to see him in fear first, but then he comes to us and says, it's okay, I'm God, but you can, let's start a relationship, let's build this up. And we see that he's personal through that, and it's not just a relationship of fear. And it's crazy what it'll do for you. Now, of course, I'm not telling you what to believe. That'd be just ridiculous. I can't set your beliefs and condemn you to say that you're believing the wrong thing or something like that. You need to examine all the sides. I have, and there's no other side like this one, I can tell you that. But examine them and just be sure that of what you want. I understand that a lot of you come from a Christian background, so I'm not going to belittle you on any of that. You have basically all the biblical knowledge you need. But what this relationship that I have with God now is, it's crazy what it'll do for you and what it's done for me. I'm happier than I ever could have been, and I follow God with all I have, and there's no holding back. There will be times I mess up, but he's there the whole time. So I'll just leave you with this. In John 10:10 it says, I have come that they may have life, and have it to the fullest, have it abundantly. In Ephesians 2:8-9 it says that for it is by grace that you have been saved, through faith, and this not from yourselves. It is a gift from God, not by works, so that no one can boast. That just shows that it's not about how good you are, how the fear of God, it's about the actual relationship with him. And trust me, if you turn to this, you'll never be the same, because I know I'm not. So thanks for watching my video. My name's Daniel. Again, this channel's it's called God's Christianity. I don't really know the whole thing about posting videos in the future. I don't know how that'll work out, but just if you have any questions, just message me, talk to me somehow. I'll figure out all that stuff later. I'm not exactly sure how this is all going to work out, but yeah, I probably won't put comments for at the bottom of this video, because comments seem to just steer people away from what their mind should believe and towards what the populace believes. If people will just dogging on the video or something like that, whether it's Christianity or atheism, it's going to put them in the boat of, oh, I don't want to believe that because other people are doing it. It's just psychological aspect. So I probably won't put comments on there, not because I'm afraid of what people would post. So if you have questions, just message me and I'll try to get back with you. So thanks for watching my video, and God bless.